to Jonathan Taylor. Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor made a man miss the line of scrimmage and then runs it into pay dirt in a one-handed INT. Are you kidding me? Kenny Moore.
What a play by Nyheim Hines.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. Derek Larger, Lawrence Owen joining me today. Colts Law, you've all seen him numerous times before. If you're not following him on YouTube, then I don't know what you're doing. But anyways, guys, so if in case anyone's wondering, I am currently in a hotel. Lawrence apparently figured it out right away as soon as he saw the background. So I'm in Indy, about to go to training camp here in the next day. So on to today's topic. And basically, we're going to talk about these two quarterbacks that have been battling out in camp so far, Sam Ehlinger versus Jacob Eason. So, you know, Colts Nation has kind of been debating it as of recently. And as of today, when we're recording this, Lawrence, Sam Ehlinger today got a chance to have some of the number one reps. Now, Reich said that's not an indictment on Eason. We just felt that Ehlinger has been improving greatly, and we want to see him do that, try to do that with the number ones. So, you know, we kind of got a taste of it. Ehlinger kind of struggled early on, but, you know, kind of found a little bit of a rhythm, and Eason looked really good and efficient today. So, you know, it was good to see both these quarterbacks. And ironically enough, it's been getting national attention. Like even Adam Schefter and ESPN is talking about it like as if there's some moral high ground to it. But anyways, let's kind of break this down here. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of having each one of these guys starting at quarterback for this. So let's start with the pros here for Eason, Lawrence. What's a few pros that you can name that Eason has in being that number one quarterback until Wentz gets back?
All right. Well, first off, pro, incredibly raw. Okay. He's only had 2 years as a starter in college. He didn't really get to play at all. No snaps last year. Incredibly raw. So he's only going to get better the more he practices, right? So that's your basic pro for Eason. And he's been showing, he's been getting better and better and better through the weeks. Another pro is the man is 6'6", okay? I hate to say that, you know, bring in height, but 6'6", when you got guys that are, you know, like Quentin Nelson, who's 330 pounds, wide at the shoulders, and 6'5", okay? If you're 6'1", like Ehlinger, you're looking between the shoulders. That's blocking a massive view. When you're 6'6", the way Eason is, the only thing blocking your view is his helmet. So you're seeing more of the field. And then, of course, you got to talk about he's got a magical arm. He can make every throw. Is he accurate every time? Not necessarily. Rookies usually aren't. You know, ask Peyton Manning. The only thing is that he has that ability. And today in practice, he apparently showed it. I mean, he was 8 for 8, you know, and had a perfect day. So Eason, his ceiling is way up there. He's just
ceiling's way up there. You're right. That's one of the things we still don't really know is, you know, just how big can this guy actually get? And, you know, when you talked about it, the pro of him actually being in this Colts system for over a year now. I mean, obviously didn't really get a lot of any significant time, but, you know, being in that offense and being in the locker room and everything else for, you know, a specific amount of time, even if COVID dealt with all that stuff last year, you know, it was still mental reps. It was still getting everything that he needed. But, you know, Sam Ehlinger just hasn't had that experience. But then again, on the flip side, you know, Eason hasn't had that great game experience either. So, you know, we really can't do much. But, I mean, we could talk about a pro here to Sam Ehlinger. And I don't know how much of it in camp has really been shown yet. Because, I mean, one thing that does impress me with Ehlinger is his ability to not only navigate the pocket, but he actually is able to be mobile. That's kind of what the Colts have wanted to have happen with a quarterback for a while. And I honestly think right now he's actually better in the pocket than even Eason is right now. I mean, they're both kind of running for their lives right now because of the left tackle position. But nevertheless, I think Ehlinger has a slightly bit more confidence in the pocket and has the ability to escape with his feet. And we've kind of talked on this show multiple times about how that could be useful for getting a defense prepared for a quarterback in this league who is going to run. I mean, does being mobile help Sam Ehlinger in any way here?
Well, I'm not going to say Eason's not mobile. Both of them are pretty mobile. In my opinion, what Ehlinger has that is a greater aspect than what Eason is showing right now is his coolness under pressure. He's calm and collected. No matter whether he has all the room in the world and there's no pressure and a clean pocket, or if there's 5 guys coming on him, it looks like nothing gets to him. It's like the game has slowed down for him and he knows what to do, where to go. That is a big bonus for him. And not everybody has that, right? A lot of people will, kind of lose it a little bit sometimes. You've seen it, seeing ghosts and stuff that we've seen from previous Jets fans and stuff. But Ehlinger is very good in the pocket. Like you say, his mobility. It's what he knows where to go. Because he's so calm, he can feel the pressure and move away from it when he needs to, and yet still be able to keep his eyes downfield. That is a huge bonus.
Now, let's talk about the con here, and I think it's everybody's main concern with Ehlinger. I know, especially for guys who've been watching a lot of film on him, is his lack of arm strength, really. I mean, we know he can launch a good ball, but in a game situation like that, it's different than being in the backyard and just launching up a 65-yard pass. That's different. It's very concerning that, we talked about Eason's ability to throw over half a football field length away, and just being able to rip it out there is something that just not a lot of quarterbacks are able to do. How detrimental is it that, Eason has all of this arm talent, but yet Ehlinger seems to kind of lack that?
See, that's the thing. Okay, so I've seen Eason throw a 70-yard pass flat-footed, which means he can make a pass 70 yards with pressure in his face. Okay, that's huge. Ehlinger, on the other hand, he can throw 50. I've seen him throw 60. I've seen Ehlinger throw a 60-yard pass, but it takes everything he's got, and there's no zip to the ball. Anything past a 15-yard pass, there just doesn't seem that urgency to the ball. It kind of floats in the air a little while. And that's scary when you have guys on the other side that are known for making plays against the ball in midair, right? That's concerning to us. Do you want to throw that when you're going up against, a Stephon Gilmore or Marlon Humphrey or something like that, or Denzel Ward with the Browns? Who that's a situation you don't want to have as a ball when he's throwing it, 25, 30 yards, and it floats out there and a corner or a safety can get under it. That's the scary thing. He's accurate. He's pretty accurate. And he's got a nice spiral on the ball. He reads the field well. Well, he reads the play well. He reads a defense well. Mm-hmm. I have noticed that as well. That is another big bonus. I feel like Ehlinger has the ability to kind of break a defense down and make the play simpler before the snap than what Eason has right now. And that helps with his arm strength, that he knows where he's going to go with the ball. But yes, a lack of arm strength and the ability to put zip on the ball and get it in the tight spaces, that can be a detrimental thing in certain situations.
Yeah, and I hate to keep staying on the arm strength thing, but, it's not only just about throwing the ball deep. And that's kind of what you were just talking about, is not letting balls float in the air for longer periods of time than what they have to. that's what I think is so interesting about Jacob Eason is that only a few quarterbacks in the league are able to rip a ball out of their hands the way Eason's able to with that strength. It makes it harder for a defensive end or a safety to get a gauge on a ball when it has that much velocity and it has that much speed versus one that lofts into the air. So, that's another thing to consider when you're looking at all of that stuff.
I was just thinking of something, and it's a point that I don't think has been brought up by anyone. And I think it's a valid point. We talked about height, all right, and Ehlinger is only 6'1" at quarterback. We're talking about offensive linemen and defensive linemen that are 6'6", 6'7". DeForest Buckner. There could be a little bit of legitimacy in why he throws some of these balls that kind of arc in the air and hang. Because, when Buckner lifts his hands up or Grover Stewart lifts his hands up, it's easy to swat a ball down when you're only 6'1". You have to kind of arc it over these guys' arms and hands. Whereas when you're 6'6", it's a little easier. You're able to throw a little bit more of a dart and not worry about a batted ball. So I'm wondering if that plays into consideration as well.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the other shorter quarterbacks in the NFL kind of have the same problem. I mean, it's not always a problem for them, but, Kyler Murray last year, had a lot of passes. When he throws a deep one, it sails a little bit. And we know Russell Wilson. We know his arm. I mean, the dude can definitely rip it, but occasionally he does loft one up a little bit. It is true that these smaller quarterbacks do have a tendency to loft the ball a little bit. Even Baker Mayfield's had a few issues with it as well. So it's in the little tiny details that matter. You're right. Eason being almost half a foot taller and having, arms that are about 6-7 inches longer definitely is very important for something like that. So is there any other pros and cons here, Lawrence, that you have between these two that we haven't already mentioned?
Yeah, Ehlinger does have a pro over Eason, and that is his actual football. I mean, he's played 4 straight years in college in a very competitive division. Very competitive. I mean, I don't know if you watched many Longhorns games, but they don't like to lose. All right.
Well, I mean, their fans don't want to lose, and their players most likely don't want to lose. But I can't say that for the entire organization. But go ahead.
I'm pretty sure no organization likes losing. But,
well, I'm sure they don't. But some people don't make great decisions to get you there. But either way,
Ehlinger has a knack for finding a way to make a play happen when it needs to happen. There has been, if you go back and watch a lot of his Longhorn games, a lot of it wasn't won because he was sitting in the pocket and threw a 30-yard pass for a touchdown. A lot of it was because, a play broke down. He kind of rolled out and was able to make something happen out of nothing and, flip a ball 8 yards in front of him to a running back who's running in space or something of that nature. He has the ability to just make stuff happen, which is a natural given talent. And I think a lot of that, again, has a lot to do with the fact that, he has such a calm demeanor. I really think the game plays slower for him in his mind than most quarterbacks in the NFL. And you can see it by the way he moves and the way he goes through his checks. There's no urgency. It's so much so that, like we talked about, it seems like his throws don't even have urgency, But that is a bonus because if you feel pressure, you're going to make mistakes. So he won't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. It all goes back to that same argument you were making. Ehlinger, multiple years in college. Eason didn't quite have that time and that ability to do that. So, again, Eason's trying to catch up. So, I mean, all this time that he has running with the ones and doing all this with these guys, that's just so important for his development. We'll see how it goes. But, Lawrence, thank you so much again for joining me tonight.
It's always great for me being here. Anytime you need.
All right, awesome. Well, guys, let us know if we missed any pros and cons about Ehlinger and Eason going into the rest of training camp, let us know what your guys' thoughts are. I'm interested to see what you guys think about this QB battle that we have going on in the preseason so far. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.